There once was a town at the base of Goodman's mountain. A simple community of farmers, ranchers, and general merchandisers. And in this town, at the base of Goodman's mountain, were two young lovers. The man loved the woman as much as the woman loved the man. Hand in hand, they would always be seen touring the fields, walking the valleys, and watching the sun sink down from the summit peak of Goodman's mountain. Looking west, dreaming of the dreams that both of them dreamed. No one in the town at the base of Goodman's mountain ever even tried to challenge the love that the two had for one another. It was pure and it was beautiful, like a romance story come to life. Until Jonathan Quinn arrived, a drunk from Missouri, a failed gambler of the Mississippi, and a wanted crook in Louisiana. Jonathan Quinn escaped quietly to the town at the base of Goodman's mountain. Almost immediately, he yearned for the affection of the young woman who was always seen hand in hand with her lover in the fields, valleys, and at the summit of Goodman's mountain. But steadfast in her heart for the young man who had captured her love, the young woman never catered to the desperate rogue named Jonathan Quinn. Finally, the day came when the young man asked the young woman for her hand in marriage, and she said yes. As Jonathan Quinn looked on in a silent rage, the town at the base of Goodman's mountain rejoiced at the news. Church bells tolled, crowds of people cheered, and some say that even the coyotes howled in harmonic happiness on the summit of Goodman's mountain that very night. The day of the wedding came. There was a spring near the town at the base of Goodman's mountain, where the water was always clear and cool. It was summertime, a hot, gorgeous June day, when the two young lovers decided to say their vows at the shoreline of the crystal clear, majestically beautiful pool. The whole community gathered for the ceremony with watermelons, fiddles, and gifts. Smiles were a common expression, laughter a marvelous sound. And Jonathan Quinn angrily frowned. He got drunk off whiskey as the two lovers took their vows, with the whole community of the town at the base of Goodman's mountain. With the whole community of the town at the base of Goodman's mountain were gathered around. He danced a drunken dance as the music rang loud at the table of the bride and groom. He presented a toast to which he wished to make amends with the young man he had lost the young woman to. When the new husband stepped to connect his own glass to that of Jonathan Quinn's, the sharpened tip of a dagger tore deeply into his stomach. Before anyone could know what had just happened, Jonathan Quinn raced off into the deep forests. The whole town at the base of Goodman's mountain watched in horror as the young bride cried in a flood of red crimson clouded that majestically clear, beautiful pool. At the looming peak, the young groom was forever placed, facing west as his young wife cried upon his grave. Church bells tolled dully. Crowds of people wept and mourned, and some say that even the coyotes howled a deep, dreaded dirge about his tomb. For days, vigilantes scoured the base of Goodman's mountain for that murdering rogue, Jonathan Quinn. But the killer had made a clean escape. The young widow walked the fields and valleys alone. Every day at sunset, she would be seen on the summit of Goodman's mountain, watching the daylight fade, muttering about dreams that she no longer dreamed. At night, she would come home, and all the people of the town at the base of Goodman's mountain listened to her weep. One crisp autumn day, as the leaves were falling, the young widow suddenly came home with a smile as crazed as a lunatic's. Everyone in the town at the base of Goodman's mountain wondered what on earth could be going on. She raced straight to her parents' door, telling them that the ghost of her young lover had told her that Jonathan Quinn would soon be found. He wanted her to tell everyone, even the preacher, to be ready with a noose to send Jonathan Quinn's soul to hell. Everyone at the town at the base of Goodman's mountain thought the young widow had gone mad. But early next morning, rising over the treetops of the forest, a billowing gray column of smoke gradually rose. All alarms were raised, and everyone went to combat a raging blaze. All but the young woman who stayed in her bed that day after talking about the handsome spirit of her dead husband all night. When the woman's father finally returned, coated in soot and ash, he saw someone trying to get into his young widowed daughter's room with a knife in hand. Her father came around a bend, and there stood the devil, and there stood that devil, Jonathan Quinn. Jonathan Quinn tried to run away, but a quick bullet to his leg dashed all those hopes away. He called upon the mercy of all the people in the town at the base of Goodman's mountain. But even the preacher closed the Bible and said there was nothing within it that could do Jonathan Quinn any good. He was hanged from a changing tree, which lost some of its leaves as the rope dropped hard from one of its firm branches. The town at the base of Goodman's mountain watched him die and listened to the crazed laughter of the young woman as it occurred. That very night, with the full pale moon shimmering overhead, the young woman walked through the empty street of the town at the base of Goodman's mountain and to the spring where her husband had died. They found her floating, lifeless, the next morning and buried her at the summit facing west beside her husband. The town at the base of Goodman's mountain is no longer there. Some say the spring can still be found, but is much smaller than what it was. Yet to this day, at the summit peak, 2 windswept mounds of shoveled earth can still be seen. Many that know the story say that when the sun sinks in the west, 2 figures embrace in the fading twilight. They vanish with the close of the day, no longer having to dream about the dreams that sadly slipped away.